Hi everyone, my name is Miriam and this is our homestead, Rustic Waters Homestead. Please join us as we go through homeschooling, homesteading, and raising animals here in Southwest Florida with my family and myself on our beautiful acre and a half. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rustic Waters Homestead. So today we're going to do viewer's choice or viewer's request, which was, Miriam, how do I can? I've never canned before, don't know what I'm doing. Can you do a jam for me? So, Nisi, this one's for you. We had the opportunity this last Friday to go to this great blueberry farm, Down South Blues. I always mess up their name, but Down South Blues is a great blueberry farm here in Arcadia. It's a U-Pick where they open up for the weekend, and we did it part of our feature of Fun Friday, so we're going to go ahead and watch for that video. But we had a great time going out there and picking the freshest blueberries and eating and picking and eating, so it was great. But what's even better about it is that you get your blueberries at $3 a pound, which is way cheaper than what you're going to get at the store. Plus, it's very, very fresh. So, we got about 6 to 7 pounds worth of blueberries. And what I'm going to be doing today is using them to show the process of jamming. Now, we started with, I needed to go and buy some more of these. I use half pint jars, wide mouth. I particularly like the wide mouth. They're just, I prefer them. So it really just depends on your preference. And I've used other brands for jamming, but I like the ball, the way their stuff seals. It just seems to seal better. So I've gone and opened it up. What I'm going to do is the first step that you do for anything that you're going to either can or jam, whether it's pressure canning or water bath, which is what we're going to do today, is you must always warm wash everything and then sterilize everything. Okay, so I have my canner going right now, my pot going right now, and you'll see I have it loaded up with water and I'm bringing up the heat on it. So the first step that I'm going to do in preparation for my jamming is sterilize everything. I'm going to wash these guys in warm water, do the lids. Here's my pot for my lids, and get that going. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you how to sterilize our jars. Now, if you come over here, you can see that my water is really hot. It is not boiling, it's just hot. Okay, it doesn't need to be boiling. You can just put it in, and I'm going to take this is a very important tool. Now, these have been washed in soapy water because they were new. So on top of that, then we're going to go ahead and put them in here. Just be careful while you're doing it, because it does get very, very hot. You want to fill them with water. Hold on. And then we're going to just drop them down. And then stand them back up. You want them completely covered in the water, and you just want to let them run probably a few minutes. I normally let them run like 5 minutes. Now, another thing that I do, and I do this, I forgot. I do this because we have hard water, which is well water. And I have found that if I add a splash of vinegar to my water, I will not have a residue on my glass jars. If I don't do that, then I get a residue on it. And there's nothing wrong with it. I just have to then clean it up. So I prefer not to do that. Then in this one here, I'm going to add my lid. I'm not going to add the bands because these aren't necessary. I've already washed them with hot soapy water. It's not necessary to put them in. But the bands I am going to put in. And again, it doesn't need to boil. It just needs to warm up or hot. But not necessarily a boiling point. And then I'm going to let those both run for 5 minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and get started with our jam. Now, while they're doing that, let me show you. This is everything that we picked. Okay, so this is everything we picked. Now what I did was, I didn't pick them. Yeah, you can get one. I did not jam them the same day that I picked them because it was an extraordinarily long day. What I did was I stored them in the refrigerator. If you store them in the refrigerator and keep them cold, these have been a couple of days. If I store them in the refrigerator and keep them cold, you can see that they're still good. And that way, the kids have an opportunity to come in and eat. Because we did have a little bit more, but they ate. And I used it for a pie. And my cameraman right now is eating some of these. But these are almost done. We got a few more minutes. And I'll bring you back, show you the next step. Okay guys, so I've had this running for 5 minutes. And you can see it's not exactly at a rapid boil. It is just going over. And I'm going to go ahead and pull them out. Now when I pull them out, I be very careful because the water is very hot. But I put them on my counter. I actually have a marble slab that my husband's cut for me. And then I put a towel over it. And that seems to work very well when I pull them out. But again, be very careful because it is hot. Now, do not dump this and don't dump the water in it because you're not done with the canner. You've sterilized all your cans. But then you're going to use this again when you go to do your water bath for your jam. So I normally just put it aside and get it out of my way, and then when I'm ready for it, I put it back on. And that way your water is already heated, and you don't have to wait, because it does take quite a bit for the water to heat up, and this. And with mine it does. I will be very glad when I have a gas stove. And now you know why these grippers are so important, because you need to be able to pull them out. When I first started canning, I didn't have grippers. I thought that I can use tongs. Big mistake. I got burned a couple of times. I won't be doing that again. And then I bought grippers that were the cheaper version. Big mistake. Because the rubber part of them came off, and then I couldn't use them either. So I decided, I was like, alright, this isn't working. You know, I need to go ahead and spend the $10 on what I need and stop being cheap, because getting burned is not my idea of fun. So there you have it. I have them all out, and this is actually ready too, so I'm going to turn those off. I leave the tops on the jars sitting there until I'm ready to use them. So, and I've cleaned that 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. I've done 9 of them all together, which I think should be enough for my jam. So the next step I'm going to do is get all my tools ready for to start making my blueberry jam. Give me a minute and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so we're getting ready to do our jam. Everything's been sterilized. All our jars are waiting. So a couple of things that you're going to need. Obviously you're going to need your fresh blueberries, okay? Like I said, we went and picked ours. Then you're going to need I use a stainless steel pot, something to mix with, your measuring containers. This is a cheese grater, but I use it for the lemon when I'm doing the lemon, because we're going to use the lemon zest. Now this lemon is from our tree, but if you cannot get lemons for whatever reason, or you're just making this at home and you're like, oh, I forgot the lemons, I have lemon juice that I keep on hand. You can use lemon juice too. That'll work out fine. And then if you're using a regular lemon, one of these juice thingies, I don't know what it's called, but
A presser.
yes, a presser. And then I do this too. This is my whiteboard. My kids laugh at me, but whatever I'm making, and here you go, this is the recipe we're going to be making. But essentially, whatever I'm making, I put it up on the board. I put all of my measurements here up on the board, and I slip it here just like that. Ta-da! And that way, I have a visual and I can see what I'm doing. And I don't either need to be looking at my phone or looking at my tablet or doing anything of that nature. They are going to stick it on there one day for me. So, what we're going to do first is one of my biggest recommendations that I can give when you're making any type of jam is do it in small batches, okay? Because it comes out better. It comes out thicker. It tastes better. I know it's a hassle because most people want to do large batches, but a little bit at a time works out the best. Can you help? Yes, you can help. Go bring your thing.
Yes.
I'm a homeschool mom. My kids always help me in the kitchen. So, all right, Annalise, you're going to help me. I'm going to pull out, because I'm doing it in small batches, I'm going to do 6 cups. What's this?
4.
Count.
5.
1.
2.
You do it. Get it in there. What's this?
4.
3. 4. What's this?
5.
5. And one more. 6.
The little ones in there?
Yeah, we're going to use the little ones in there too. You want to taste it? Make sure it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we have 6 cups here, and it looks like I might have enough to do another maybe 4 cups. So small batches. I'm going to go ahead, because these were picked by the kids, make sure that there isn't any, like I see some stems coming on around here. And any leaves that might have snuck in. And then I'm going to give it a good rinse.
Yeah.
So we've rinsed everything out, and now we're going to go ahead and pour it in.
Mommy, I will leave.
No, you can't do this part, Annalise. I've rinsed everything out, and we're going to pour it in here. And as it heats up, just doing some final checks here. There was some stems and some leaves that we pulled out, which is fine. I mean, that's just part of picking. So I normally run my stove. I've had people ask me your temperatures, how you use. And again, guys, this is based on your stove, okay? Everybody's stove is different. My stove is not the greatest stove in the world. It's an electric stove, which I'm praying we can change it to gas, because that would be my preference. But I keep it between high and medium, so about a medium high. It really doesn't say it, but in between there. Because I've noticed that when my stove goes anything lower than a medium high, it just stops working. Okay, it doesn't heat, it doesn't maintain that heat that I want. So, and we do want to get this heated up. But we don't want it scorching hot either. We don't want it to burn. Okay, so we're going to do this. I'm going to start letting it work, and as it does it, it will slowly start reducing by itself, and the blueberries will start breaking down. I'm also going to add probably my first 2 cups of sugar just to get some liquid going in there.
Tonight?
No, not this part, baby.
I will put the lemon for you.
Now, one of the things that I really like about making jams at home, and it's one of the reasons why I switched over doing it, was because I felt that the jams at the store had way too much sugar and preservatives added in there that were just not good. And I have kids that love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I love to give them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but I didn't want them to have all the sugars they were having. So a lot of the times what I'll do is, as I'm making my jam, I'll take a taste, and if I think that it has enough sweetener, I mean, my recipe calls for 3.5 cups, but if I think that it has enough sweet in it, I reduce the sugar, especially when you are doing fresh picked fruits. You're picking them straight, ripe from the garden. Their sugar content is there, and they're very sweet. So play with your sugar amount. Don't be afraid to play with your ingredients and how much sugar to add and how much sugar not to add, because you will be surprised how good things can taste with less sugar in it. So this is going, and I'm going to get our cinnamon in there. I do put some cinnamon, and you want to do the cinnamon? Okay. Hold on. For our cinnamon, I do 2 teaspoons. Okay, come here. How many?
2.
2. Go ahead and add it in. Now the cinnamon is optional. I've made this too without any cinnamon. Go ahead. Get it in. Just like I've had a couple of recipes that call for nutmeg in it. I've made it with nutmeg too. I have nutmeg there. You can either do powdered nutmeg. Oops, can you pick that up, Annalise? Powdered nutmeg or ground nutmeg. All of those are used to enhance the flavor of your blueberries. So any one of those will work. If you, Alex, if you come over this way, you can see that the blueberries are starting to break down, and we're getting the juices. So what I do at this point is I will get my masher, my potato masher, and use that. So give me 1 second. Okay, guys, so as we're progressing and it's starting to heat up, I could hear the little bit of the boiling. It's not quite boiling yet, but I'm going to take my masher and just let go of some of those juices. Okay. Now, one of the things that you probably notice in my recipe is that I do not have pectin in my recipe. Because I'm making a jam, I don't have pectin in my recipe. Now, one of the things that I do, and I don't know that everybody does this, and again, you know, everybody has different ways of doing it. When I am making jams, that I am using the fruit itself, whole, as I'm doing here. Fruits have natural pectin in them. Now, and pectin is used as a thickener agent, okay? However, because I'm using the whole fruit and it has a natural pectin, the fruits carry their natural pectin, I don't add into my jams. But it means that I have to cook them out a little bit longer, so you have to be patient. You have to kind of let it cook out longer and look at what and see what you're looking at as it's reducing those juices. When I make my jellies, I do use pectin. If I'm making jelly, like I'm making grape jelly or I'm making apple jelly because I'm just using the juice of the fruit, I will add pectin in it. I'm getting to the point, do you want to go outside? Go outside, guys, it's okay. I have a watermelon that they gave us, and I'm going to be using the watermelon. I'm going to be doing a video on the watermelon. But with the watermelon, because I'm going to be using the juice of the watermelon, I will add the pectin in as a thickening agent. But when I do jams like this, like when I make my strawberry jam or I make my blueberry jam, I do not add pectin to it. That's another reason why I make it in smaller batches, because it allows for me to allow it to render down and get going. I've only added 1 cup of sugar, so I'm going to go ahead and add my 2nd cup of sugar as it's progressing. Okay, and we're going to allow that to blend in. And then I'm also going to go ahead and add in my lemon zest. I remember how to use this. This way and this way. Now when you're adding in the lemon zest, make sure you're just doing the outside of the lemon. Don't go into the white part, because the white part gives it a sour flavor. So you just want to get the top of this. Now I know my lemon's not the prettiest lemon in the world, but it smells great. And it's from our garden. So I know that it doesn't have any pesticides to it. And I went ahead and washed it before I did it. But I will use all of the lemon zest added in there. Give it an extra kick. And like I said, if you don't have the lemon, if you don't have a lemon, then you can go ahead and just use lemon juice. I've done that before. So I've zested my lemon, and now this is where my fruit press. What did we say it was called, Alex?
Lemon press?
Lemon press. That's
Or
where
some type of fruit press?
This is where this comes in handy. We're just gonna squeeze it right out. Boom. Here's 1/2. And we'll do the 2nd half. And you guys can see that that's got a nice bubble going on, which is what I'm looking for. I want it to do some bubbling. So we're gonna add that there, and it's starting to thicken.
And it smells good.
And it smells good.
And it tastes good too.
Well, we haven't tasted it yet, but he's eating my blueberries over in the background. He thinks I don't see him. And we're gonna do some more smashing here. Okay. And it's got a nice purple color to it, which tells me these blueberries are really, they were ready, they were good. They weren't green. Now, after you're done pressing and you've gotten most of the juice out of this, and it's boiling, you see how it's boiling and it looks nice, but I want to break down those blueberries even more.
Oh my goodness, it smells so good.
This is a handheld blender. This is probably one of my favorite tools when I'm making jam. I gotta make sure I pull out the right one. When I'm making jam, because it just makes for a really good product at the end. Everything is nice and smooth.
Pay
Okay?
attention, please don't get electrocuted.
But when you're doing this, and this is hot, put it in and leave it in like that. Push down and leave it in. Don't lift it, because if you lift it, it's going to splatter, and it's hot. This is why, at this point, I told Annalise that she couldn't be in the kitchen with me, because it was just too hot.
I wonder why you know that.
And you will see as I'm doing this, they're breaking down. The blueberries are breaking down. It's just nice and easy. You could easily take this mixture afterwards if you want to and put it in a blender. Let's say you don't have a handheld blender. You can do it in a blender too. Just if you're going to transfer it over and put it in a blender, be very careful with it. You might want to let it cool down just a little bit. But the thing of breaking it down this way is that once again you're releasing the natural pectins of the fruit and allowing it to reduce, so then it'll thicken up. Okay guys, so we have the blueberries going. And I want you to see, I've had it reducing for a little bit, probably about the last 10 minutes. And you can see how this film is coming up here and how it's looking like a thick sauce. This is where we're going with it, okay? This is what we want it to look like. I went ahead and used the handheld and got everything smashed the way I wanted it to be, so now it's thickening up the way I want it to be. So here's the magic question. How do you know when this is ready to go from here, the stovetop, to your jars, and that it's going to have that thick consistency that you're looking for? You do the plate test, okay? I'm going to grab a white plate. It doesn't have to be a white plate, but I particularly have white plates. And then what I do is I drizzle some of this jam right on here like this. And I put it in the freezer. I let it get cold, okay? And when it gets cold, I'm going to show you what we do next. So I put the plate in. I left it in there for like 2 minutes, just enough for it to get cold. Okay. See it there? And now we're going to do this. And you see how it's not running? It's really not going anywhere. It's going nice and slow. That tells me that it's ready. I can see that it's thickened. Okay? Nice and thick. And it tastes really, really, really good. So it's perfect. I went ahead and pulled it off, and now our next step is going to be to jam it up. Okay guys, other than the plate test, you can also just look at your jam, and let me show you what you're looking for, okay? It's coating and sticking to my spoon. As it cools, it stays. And then it's also, I mean, you can just see how thick it is. And when you let it just sit, it has a film of blueberries that it's putting over. So I want to say that it took me about 20 minutes to get to this point, between adding the sugars, the cinnamon, the lemon, and doing the whole thing and letting it render. And some of the blueberries you'll see that's still in there, they're smushed down, but some of the skin is still in there. We like it that way, so I leave it like that. Okay, so our next step is going to be to put them into our jars. So we're going to go ahead and put them into our jars. You can ladle them into your jars, or you can use a scooper. I use this to put them into my jars. And here's my, this is also another tool that you're going to want to use, which is a funnel. And I like the funnels, they work great. And we're going to leave a 1-inch head on this, okay? And I'll show you what that looks like. But basically all the way to this rim right here, to that first, where the rimming starts, is normally where I put it. And you want to be careful with your rim up on top. I mean, if you do get stuff on it, it's okay. Just make sure you wipe it down before you seal it. Because if not, then you're going to have food there and it's not going to seal properly. So as I fill these up, I'm just going to go ahead and fill these up, and then I'll come back, show you what we're going to be doing next. Okay guys, so I've gotten to the point where I have my jars my first batch, because remember I say I make these in small batches. So my first batch, we added in 6 cups of blueberries. We pulled out 5 1/4 jars, pint jars. Now I've went ahead and I've wiped down all of my rims. Just make sure that you wipe down all of your rims with the paper towel. You can even do it with paper towel and vinegar if you want, but I just went ahead and did it with a paper towel. And then a couple of tools that you need is this little guy here, and it gives measurements. So you pretty much just use it from the top so you know how far down you've gone. So I've given each of these guys a 1/2 inch head, which means that when I go ahead and cook them, I'm giving space for that food in there. And that's really important, especially when you're pressure canning. Because if not, what happens is it boils over and then you get food everywhere on your rims. And then another thing you want to do when you're jamming is get the end point to this tool and take out any air bubbles that would exist in there. Just run it through like this. And we want to take out any and all air bubbles just to make sure that it's sitting right. Okay. And it's real simple. And you'll see, I mean, if you leave air bubbles, that's fine, but normally you don't want to leave any of them. And then after you've done this step, you've gotten them all those air bubbles out. Then we're going to put the tops on them. Now our tops are here. Remember we washed them with soap and water, and we got them all done, and then we sterilized them. So don't touch them. Here's another nifty little tool. It's a stick with a magnet on there. And we're going to grab them that way and put them up one at a time. You don't want to touch the inside ring part because that's the part that's been washed and cleaned up. And make sure that you're picking up one at a time. I have sometimes managed to pick up 2 at a time, and that's no fun. And our next step would be to take them to the water bath. Well, actually, our next step would be to put the rings on them, and then we're going to take them to the water bath. These guys. This little small one here that didn't make it up all the way, I'm not going to can that. What I'm going to do is leave it out for my kids, and they'll go ahead and eat it. I'm surprised they're not in here already asking me if it was done. So we screw these in. They don't need to be screwed on tight. Just with your hand. That's it. You don't need to turn into Superwoman when you're doing this. Okay? You don't want it that way. You just want it enough that it's done by hand. And I will show you. Okay, guys, so I went ahead and I made my second batch of blueberries.
Delicious.
So we have 7 cans of blueberry jam that we're going to go ahead and process. Now there's 2 different ways that you can. Today we're going to be using what's called the water bath canning. Okay, it's not your pressure canning, it's just your water bath. This is the simplest way to start. It's the easiest way because basically any pot that you have, I have the bigger one, but any pot that you have, you can put these in there, leave them 10 minutes, and then pull them out. Because of the volume that I'm making today, I am going to go ahead and use the bigger one. I have in the past used smaller pots, just depending on what I'm making. When you're using the pressure canner is a little bit different. and I will do a video on pressure canning. I myself am learning how to use the pressure canner. There's a couple of things that I've done, and just learning how to do the timing of it. But I'll probably do a video on that. I think the easiest thing that I know how to pressure can, I've done a couple of different things, but I'll probably do a video on beans. Okay, that's a real easy one that I've done, and I enjoy doing that one, so I'll do beans. But anyway, for right now, we're getting these blueberry jams getting ready to go in, and you can see that they're all standing, and then we're going to take our and completely submerge them in hot water, and we will have this, we'll time it for 10 minutes. Okay, we'll cover it up, it'll boil, we'll time it for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, we'll come back, we'll pull them out, and then we'll show you, as they start cooling off, they're going to start popping. You'll hear that click, 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 and it sounds really cool. Hopefully we'll be able to get it, but that's when you know that you've successfully canned your jam. You want to listen for that click. And then once it's done, your jam is going to be good for a year before you pop it back. You know, it's good for a year. So you can go ahead and date it too. We'll date it. Normally I just put a date on the label just so I know when it's been made. So give me 10 minutes and we'll be back pulling them out. Okay, so they've been boiling for 10 minutes and I'm enjoying a steam bath. Just joking. We're going to go ahead and pull this out. Just be careful because it is hot. Okay. I'm going to pop this like that. Nope, I got it. And then we're going to pull them. And you can see how it expanded up in here. That's why we leave the half-inch head space. Okay. Because if not, what you would have if you put the jelly all the way to the top, because you're like, oh, I'm going to put this all the way to the top, then what you're going to have is that when you're processing it, it's going to come out. It's going to seep out. And I know because I've done that before. That's how I know. So then basically you let these cool, and as they cool, you'll hear them seal. Now I know that there's different people, I've seen different people do different things where they will turn their jams upside down, put these down that way, and they swear by it. They say, oh, that's the only way to do it. I don't necessarily think that's the only way to do it. I think that you just need to make sure that you're starting with high quality sealers, okay? These guys here. This is what's going to do it. If this rubber is worn down at all, in any way, if there's any rust, if it's worn down, it's not going to seal. That's what's going to do it right. Because that's where, you know, that's how it's going to work. So now I just let these sit here, and if you listen, you can hear them pop. As they start cooling, they will start popping. No. One thing I do not suggest is to go around and tap them. Okay, I used to do that all the time. This one looks like it's sealed. Okay, and you'll see the top still have a little bump, and then when they seal in that air, they become airtight. The top gets suctioned in. Now, what I used to do, because I was very impatient and I wanted to know, did it seal? Did it seal? Did it seal? Now we'll go around tapping them all the time. Don't do that. I speak from experience. Just leave it alone. You'll hear them go pop. Okay. Just leave them, let them sit, and they will start popping on their own. Hopefully we'll hear another one pop. If not, you know, they will pop though, as that air starts releasing. So this is it, blueberry jam, how we did it from beginning to end, starting with opening the package, sterilizing, cleaning, doing our blueberries, getting all that done, canning it, water bath, the whole nine. Again, if you want to know what this is, it is water bath canning. Water bath. You run it through, 10 minutes. At the end, all you need is 10 minutes because by then your jam and all of that has been cooked. So 10 minutes and it'll sit here and it'll become airtight and it'll be good to go for a year. You might want to label it, which I do. I get, well, one of my markers is around here, but I get a marker and just label the date on it. And if you need to say if it's blueberry, you know, if it's up to you. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of how to can and make blueberry jam. Nisi, this one's for you. So you better like, share, subscribe, do the whole thing. And for the rest of you, please like, share, subscribe, do it all right here at the bottom. And leave any comments. I'd love to hear what you guys like to jam and if you have your own recipe for blueberry jam. You guys have a great and blessed day. Thank you guys for joining us today at Rustic Waters Homestead. We hope you enjoyed our episode for today. Please make sure to subscribe to our page, like, and share.
Thanks.
You guys have a great day.
Thanks.